Hi friends, thanks so much for joining me today. So today's card tutorial was actually inspired by, you guessed it, another card I received for my birthday. My birthday was back in May, but the end of May actually. So I had opened all my cards and I took pictures of them and I saved the ones that I really liked. Well, I mean, I saved them all, but I saved the ones that I really liked that I wanted to share some as inspiration for my card tutorials. So that's what this one is. So today we're going to be having fun with little squares. How cool is that? Now you could use these in any way that you want. Matter of fact, if you want, you can also do this in the landscape mode and it would give it a different look, right? So we're going to do portrait today, but keep that in mind, okay? So for today's card, I am featuring beautiful butterflies, the stamp set, which I love so much. I'm going to be using Happy Birthday, and we have some dies that we're going to be using. I actually already die cut my butterflies, but what's nice about this stamp, this die set, is that it has 2 of the same butterfly dies, so you get 2 for 1, right? How cool is that? And then you also have the big image back here with a couple of labels, dies, and this one here, actually you could make a card with the front being in the shape of a butterfly. So really cool. Love this die and stamp set. I also have the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder that we're going to use. So let's get started. I am using basic white for my card base. I have another scrap here of basic white, which we'll cut down. I have a piece of Calypso Coral. That will be my layering piece. Now, if you wanted to, you can die cut your butterflies right out of here. I've already die cut them. I had scrap pieces, and then I cut one from a different color of this. Now the paper, the DSP that I am using is Thoughtful Journey, which is still available. This was absolutely gorgeous. And the Thoughtful Designs Designer Series paper. Again, this too is also still available. So you want to check that out if you haven't gotten those yet. All right, let's start by cutting some of these pieces down, okay? So I have my card base already. Let's just fold and burnish that. Get my bone folder. And I like to put it up, oh, you can't see that, can you? Against the bottom of my trimmer. I open up the, I'm just gonna move this here to make it a little bit flat. So I open up the arm here, well, not the arm, but the little flappy thing there. And then I use the lip to line it up and make sure both sides are lined up, which I see that this one's a little bit off, which sometimes that happens. So I just press it down against the edge to give it even all across the bottom. And then we're even, so we're good. Okay, so that's that. So that's my tip in my video for you today. Okay, then we're gonna cut our basic white piece down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I'm just going to cut this down to 5 inches, and then we'll cut the other side down to 3 3/4. So far so good. Oopsies. Okay, we have some scrap pieces. We'll put those aside. Okay, let's put this here. I think this one's cut down correctly. Let's see, this should be, what size is this? 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, good. And let me just remeasure this. I don't know why I thought this was 4. No, this is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, we're good with that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one sheet, and since it's Calypso Coral, I'm going to take this versus this bottom part here, which is more like a petunia pop, right? Might be hard to see that, but you see how this is more like a Calypso Coral, Flirty Flamingo. So we're gonna go with this side. All right, so I need 3 pieces that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. So we'll cut this down to 1 1/4 inches. So cut that, and then again, we're gonna do, my trimmer is a little sticky from one of my cards. I think from my last video, I cut my paper down incorrectly. So 1 1/4 and 1 1/4. And another one that's 1 1/4. Okay, and then I have a little scrap left. I'll put that aside. And then I'm going to cut this down. I think I'll use this side here again because it's more Calypso coral here, but I need to keep in mind this is directional. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're cutting. So 1 1/4. We're going to do 3 of these. Okay, I've got some scraps there. And I think I'll do this side. So 1 1/4. Right? Why does that not look correct? Because I probably didn't cut it 1 1/4. That's why. Okay, I didn't. I don't know what I did. I must have gone 1 1/2. Okay, no problem. Not a problem, right? Sometimes we make mistakes. That's why it's always measure twice, cut once. I did not do that. So we'll just trim those down. So let's go 1 1/4. You know what, let's go, what's 1 1/4 and 1 1/4 is 2 1/2, right? So let's do this. We're going to cut this down 2 1/2, little scrap. Then we'll recut this down to 1 1/2. And you know what? I think I might go, I mean, not 1 1/2, 1 1/4. I think we'll go this way. Okay, just cut that off. And that's a scrap, but you know what? I think that's too small for anything. So we're just going to toss that. All right, and then we're just going to cut this in half, 1 1/4. And that will be all our cutting. I can put this trimmer away, take these pieces off. Then what I want to do, because I want to give it a little time to dry, is I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to first dry fit them onto my card base. Okay, so I've got my 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece. And then, like I said, I just want to dry fit them. So I'm going to kind of just begin to eyeball it. I don't think this really has much of a direction to it, but we're going to assume it does. So I'm just going to kind of lay that there. And then lay these pieces right alongside it. Now I want them to butt up against each other. So as I said, I'm going to dry fit this first to make sure that I like the way it looks. And then when I'm happy, I'll leave one piece down. I'll pick up the other ones and we'll just adhere them. Okay, so again, we're just dry fitting right now. And then this piece comes next. So that up, and then this one's going to be last. And we'll do, let's see, like this, right about there. All right, so I know I want to move that up a little bit, so we're going to try to push the whole thing up because this piece is hanging up just a little more than I want it to. So we're going to kind of go like that, here, 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 here. Oops. This is the worst part of it, you know, when you're dry fitting it, just because you want to make sure you get them in the right spot. All right, so I think I'm happy with the way that looks. And let's start to adhere them. I wanted to push that way a little. All right, we're going to push these. And you could also leave a little space in between if you wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to just put them up to each other. I think that's better. I think I had a little too much space on this side versus that side. All right, so that is the way we're going to keep it. So I want to adhere. I'm going to take this piece off. And I'll tell you why in a second. Because this piece here, you just want to leave, you just want the glue on part of it, not the whole piece. So we're just going to add some liquid glue right to this piece. And I'm using, well, you know, other than liquid glue is obviously my choice because I love liquid glue. And this especially enables you to move things around if you need to. So we're just going to put that piece right there. I don't want to get this one stuck underneath. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to put the next one below that. Now this DSP, the Thoughtful Designs, is not double-sided. And typically when Stampin' Up! Has either silver or gold on one side, they don't do double-siding. That's not always true though. There are exceptions, just like there's exceptions for everything, right? So this particular one is only one-sided. which kind of makes it easy when you're choosing, you know, you don't have to pick which side to use, right? Just makes it that much easier. So we're going to put this piece right here. And the reason I'm doing this first is simply because I wanted to make sure that it's completely dry before we emboss it. Because what will happen if it's not completely dry is those little squares that we just took so much time to put down will move on us, and then we'll not be very happy. So that's why we're doing this first, taking our time. And then while this is drying, I will stamp my sentiment, and I'll adhere the Calypso coral piece down to the basic white. So we're just going to put this piece down, and let's see, I want to make sure which way we're going. So we're going to go like so, right? Okay, so I want to go from there to there. Let's just lift this, and I'm just going to add my adhesive right on this little triangle here, getting the edges. Okay, and then we'll just lay that down. And I probably should be using my mat just in case, but last I did not. But I don't think I got glue on that. So, all right, so now we're going to put this piece down again. Probably just holding it with my finger. So right below, oops, wrong side. Okay, so we're going to go right about here with this one. This one's above the little points. Now, of course, you could use regular seal on this as well, but like I said, this gives you a little wiggle room to get it just right. Oops, I did put that wrong, didn't I? I knew I had it wrong. This goes like this. Okay, there we go. So that is there. Okay, can put this away for a minute. Let me just trim these down. And we're just going to turn that over. You can also use your trimmer, but this is just as easy. Just following the edge and just following the edge on the other one here. I'm just going right along the edge of my cardstock. So there you go. Pretty. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so this is going to dry. We're going to put that aside. Let me put my Calypso coral down, and we'll do a little bit of stamping. And then hopefully that piece will be dry enough and we can emboss that. Just going to add this to the front, and we're going to line that up, trying to give it equal spacing, top, bottom, left, and right. Okay, and then we'll put that, press that down. All right, let's close up the glue. Put that aside for a minute. Okay, let's get our pierce mat because I am using a photopolymer stamp. So I just want to use that. And actually, you know what? We can probably put one of these butterflies on the inside of our card. So here are the butterflies that I've already die cut. Just thought I'd save some time. Aren't they so pretty? They're just so dainty. That's in Petunia Pop. And then we have this one in Calypso Coral. And this is another sheet from that Thoughtful Designs DSP. So really pretty. Love those. So I'm going to put one on the inside of the card base. And then these three will go on the outside after we've embossed it. Okay. All right. So we're going to do Happy Birthday. I'm doing tone on tone, which basically means I'm using Calypso Coral cardstock and Calypso Coral ink. So let's see. I'm going to put this probably closer to this edge here because I want to put my butterfly right there. So let's make sure that stamp's okay. Looks good. Nice and straight. And I'll put this here and we'll do that right over here. Make sure we transfer the ink and lift. That's beautiful. And that is all the stamping I have for you. All right, let's bring this in here. I'm going to need that silicone mat. And I'm just cleaning this off quick, since that's all the stamping I need to do. And it just gives us a little extra time to let that piece dry. So let's just put this back in here. And I can see that I need to clean these with an rubbing alcohol, or with hand sanitizer because they're not sticking to the case. So that's a telltale sign that it's time to clean them, right? Okay, so, all right, so we're just moving things around here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm done with this. I do need, like I said, my silicone mat, which we've got it right here. So let's put the butterfly on the inside of the card base. We'll put it right there, right? That looks good, right? I think so. And we'll just add a little bit of glue. I've got some sticky glue on my, there we go. Okay, so I'm just, oh, we still have another little piece there. All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue right there, here, just a dot there, there. So I'm just dotting this because what I should have done is use an adhesive sheet. That would have made it so much easier, but alas, I always forget about my adhesive sheets. Then I'm going to take my tweezers, oops, I gotta lift that, there, and then we'll lay her right down. And normally I don't put embellishments on the inside, but I think we'll put one right there. We're going to use our rhinestone basic jewels, and we'll put a big one. I think I'll use one of the large. Oops, I already picked that up. No, we're going to put that back there, and we're going to use one of the larger ones. Okay, and we'll put it right here in the center of the butterfly. So now the inside of the card looks pretty as well. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, I love the way that looks. All right, hopefully this is dry enough that we can emboss it. I'll close my glue because I don't need that right this minute. Just move things aside. And let's get our embossing machine out and our plates. All right, so we've got our number 1 plate and number 4 plate. We'll get our embossing folder, the distressed tile 3D embossing folder. I'm just going to lay this here and see what I like. I think that looks good. All right, so we'll put that down and hope for the best, right? All right, let's see. Let's get this out of the way. All right, let's see what it did. Hopefully it didn't move anything. There we go. Oh, look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Oh, I think that looks gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I love that. Happy the way that turned out. All right, let's put this down with some liquid glue. All right, I'll add some liquid glue. I want to make sure that I get in those little nooks and crannies because it is a 3D embossing folder. We're just going to lay this right here in the center and press it down. We're just going to hold it for a minute, make sure it adheres properly. Okay, so that looks good. And let's decide where we're going to put our butterflies. I'll put, you know what? Let me put down my, oh, this I should have cut it first, but okay. I guess we're just going to put it straight across. I wanted to cut this down so it fit only on the white, but I forgot. So we're just going to go straight across here, or should I just cut it down? Well, let's trim this down to 3 3/4. All right, let's trim that down. Forgot to do that. In my haste to glue that piece down, I forgot to do that, so no worries. Not to worry. Okay, let's add this piece now. And this way we know where to put our butterflies. So I'm just gonna add some liquid glue. I think my butterflies, I'm gonna use dimensionals. since we haven't used any dimensionals on this card, right? So we're just going to do that. And these dimensionals, and my scissors are, use these. I'll turn these over. I'm just going to add a little one right in the center. So let's take part of this. So this is a good time to use those, what I call the bones of your dimensionals. You don't want to throw those side pieces out because it's still dimensionals, right? And I need one more. So we're just going to cut this piece right here. And we'll lay that down right on this butterfly here. Okay. And let's decide where we're going to put these. Oops, that's actually showing, isn't it? That's all right, we'll fix that. Let's see. Perfect. I'm going to flip up the wings a little. So I'm going to add this one right here. And then, oh, these are too big, aren't they? Look at that. I'll cut this down a little. Let's just trim that dimensional just a bit there. And a bit here. Okay. And this one down here. Let's go over here with this one. Probably should have used a different color than the petunia pop because there's no purple on there, right? Maybe I should have done two in the Calypso Coral. Even this Lost Lagoon, I didn't have any in that color either. All right, just wanted to take those off my scissors so I don't forget to do that, because boy, I do not like it when I do that. All right, let's get some of our gems again. We'll just add these on the center of the butterfly. Because I like to have odd number of rhinestones in there. Put the scissors away. I mean, not my scissors, my glue. All right, I think we're good. So there you go. I think I did pretty good, right? Doesn't that look great? So, and this was my initial sample. This one I used more of the, I've got the petunia pop in there. I guess that's why I cut that out in that color. So how do you like those, friends? Aren't they adorable? Such an easy, fun design to make. And you can use any DSP, any cardstock that you have on hand, and whatever embossing folder that you might have on hand. Please be sure to like my video if you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to share it with your friends and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the cards. Until next time, happy stamping. Bye-bye.